It's dawn in Imperial Rome, 27 BC. Emperor Augustus stands on the Palatine Hill, looking over a city of 1,000,000 souls. He doesn't think about the masses. He thinks about a list of about 200 names, senators and legion commanders, the ones who matter. These 200 men hold the key to his survival. Not the plebs, not the merchants, not the poets. Just a small coalition of military and political elites. Augustus knows a brutal truth. You don't need to please everyone to stay in power. You just need to please the few who can depose you. Today, you might think democracy has replaced such Machiavellian logic. But the same principle operates in your company, your community, your family. The question this book asks, what if the laws of power are universal, and we're all playing by them whether we know it or not? The theory is simple. Every leader has a selectorate, those with a say in choosing the leader, and a winning coalition, the minimum number whose support keeps them in office. To stay in power, you only need to satisfy your coalition, not the whole selectorate. Augustus kept his coalition small, about 200 senators and equestrians. He showered them with land, cash, and status. They got richer as he got more powerful. Meanwhile, the rest of Rome paid taxes and got nothing. But they couldn't organize, so they didn't matter. You've seen this at work. The boss gives promotions and bonuses to a close circle of loyalists. Everyone else works hard, but their raises are tiny. It's not about performance, it's about loyalty. The coalition gets private rewards. The rest get public goods like a good job email. The book calls this private goods for the coalition, public goods for everyone else. The logic is universal. If you can buy loyalty cheaply with private rewards, why waste resources on the masses? It's not evil, it's efficient. But here's the catch. Small coalitions are stable, but they also breed stagnation. When leaders only serve the few, the many suffer. And that suffering can eventually turn into revolution, if the many can organize. That's where the next model comes in. Mobutu Sese Seko of Zaire knew this logic intimately. From 1965 to 1997, he ran one of the most kleptocratic regimes in history. His winning coalition was tiny, maybe 200 to 300 cronies and family members. He looted billions from the state and gave it to them. Mobutu built a palace in his home village, had a fleet of Mercedes, and flew his cronies to the World Cup in private jets. Meanwhile, the country's roads crumbled, schools closed, and hospitals ran out of medicine. He provided private jets for his coalition, not public roads for the nation. Think of a local homeowners association. The board members grant themselves landscaping upgrades or waive fees for friends. They use the HOA's money for private perks while the playground equipment rusts. It's the same logic. Small coalition, private goods. The book argues that the choice between loot and tax defines a regime. A leader with a small coalition will always prefer private goods, bribes, because they're cheaper. Public goods like infrastructure are expensive and benefit everyone, including potential rivals. But here's the twist. The book stops here. But notice what it implies. When you see a company's CEO giving huge bonuses to executives while cutting employee benefits, it's not just greed. It's a strategic survival mechanism. The CEO is protecting their coalition, even if it means the company suffers long term. Mobutu's coalition was small, but he had to keep them loyal. He constantly rotated officials, pitted them against each other, and made sure no one could build an independent power base. That's the coup trap, and it's the next rule we need to understand. Lee Kuan Yew's Singapore seems like a counterexample, a dictator who brought prosperity. But the book reveals a subtle Goldilocks logic. Singapore had a large winning coalition, the whole population, so the government had to provide public goods like housing and education to keep everyone satisfied. The economy grew rapidly, but Lee tightly controlled political competition. Independent political movements were suppressed. Opposition politicians were jailed. Growth was allowed, but only so much that no alternative power base could emerge. Not too hot, not too cold, just enough to survive. In your workplace, a manager who fosters team growth but carefully undermines any potential star who might challenge them is playing the same game. They celebrate your success, but only until you become a threat. Then they remind you who's in charge. The book suggests that dictators don't want maximum growth. They want controlled growth. Too much growth creates billionaires who can fund rebellions. Too little growth risks riots. So they calibrate. The same goes for your boss. They want the team productive, but not so productive that you get their job. But here's a counterpoint. The book implies that large coalition systems are more ethical because they provide public goods. Yet Singapore had public goods, but little democracy. So is the trade-off worth it? The model doesn't answer that. It only describes the logic. You decide. The Goldilocks principle shows that growth is a tool, not a goal. And the size of the coalition determines how that tool is used. But what about leaders with tiny coalitions? They face a different problem. How to keep even those few loyal without creating a rival. The book introduces a simple heuristic. Imagine a selectorate of 5 people. If your winning coalition is 3, you're a dictator. You can bribe those 3 cheaply. If you need 4, you're a democrat. You have to provide public goods that benefit all 5 because you can't bribe just 4 without the 5th noticing. North Korea is a 3 out of 5 system. Kim Jong-un's Selectorate is about 3 million party members, but his winning coalition is only about 50 to 100 top officials. He keeps them loyal with luxury goods, palaces, and access to foreign currency. The rest starve. In your child's school board, the same math applies. A principal needs the support of only a few vocal parents to keep their job. Those parents get their kids into the best classes, get their complaints heard. The other parents are ignored. Coalition size, small. The 3-4-5 rule reveals why democracies tend to have better infrastructure. They have larger coalitions. But it also explains why democracies feel inefficient. You can't just buy off a few. You have to build roads for everyone. That's expensive and slow. And this is the part the authors never spell out. In your own life, when you're trying to get a project approved, you don't need to convince everyone. You need to find the 3 out of 5 who matter. The rest are noise. That's the selectorate theory in action, every day. But if coalition math is so predictable, then leaders should be able to game it perfectly. Yet they often fail. Why? Because the members of the coalition have their own ambitions. They can betray you, and that's where the coup trap closes in. Muammar Gaddafi of Libya knew that his biggest threat wasn't the West. It was his own generals. So he deliberately kept the military weak and divided. He rotated commanders frequently, created multiple intelligence agencies that spied on each other, and gave key posts to relatives. Any officer who showed too much competence was demoted or sent to a remote post. Incompetence was rewarded because it meant loyalty. A smart general could overthrow him. A corrupt, lazy one never would. That's the coup trap. To survive, you must surround yourself with mediocrity. You've seen this in your company. The boss hires a yes man who never challenges them, while a talented employee who speaks up gets sidelined. The boss knows competence is a threat. So they promote the loyal, not the capable. The company suffers, but the boss survives. The book argues that coup-proofing is rational. Gaddafi lasted 42 years, but it comes at a cost. The country's institutions decay. When the Arab Spring came, the Libyan army was too weak to defend the regime or to stabilize the country afterward. The coup trap worked, until it didn't. Here's where the book stops, but think about it. If you're a leader, the coup trap creates a paradox. You need talented people to achieve your goals, but those same people can depose you. So you hire for loyalty, not skill. That's why so many organizations are mediocre at the top. The coup trap explains why dictators fear competence, but it also explains something more personal. while your boss might ignore good ideas. Not because they're stupid, but because your idea makes you look good, and that's dangerous. The next chapter will tie all these threads together. So what do these rules add up to? A universal logic. Power is not about being liked, it's about being needed. The leader who controls the coalition's rewards controls the coalition. And the coalition's size determines whether you get roads or bribes. From Augustus to Kim Jong-un, from Mobutu to your boss, the same calculus repeats. It's not a conspiracy, it's a game. And once you see the rules, you realize you're a player too, whether you're a leader or a follower. But here's the question the book leaves you with. If these rules are inevitable, can you escape them? In your own life, can you build a coalition based on mutual benefit rather than manipulation? Or are you just one more player in the game, optimizing for survival? The dictatorship of the coalition is not just about politics. It's about every group you belong to. The next time you see a leader making a baffling decision, ask yourself, what does their coalition look like? Whose loyalty are they buying? And what are you willing to do to be in that coalition? The answer might make you uncomfortable, but that's the point of this book. It's not a handbook for dictators, it's a mirror for everyone. And the reflection shows that power is not a mystery, it's a math problem. And now you know the formula. So the final question is yours. Now that you see the game, will you play it differently, or will you just play to win?
So that's the machine, running quietly under everything. If it made one corner of your world click, you already got what this was for. Keep it going, subscribe, and send it to the one person who plays the game well. New book every 2 weeks. Until then, read closely.